Hey guys, and welcome back. Today we're going to be discussing what might be some of the better value bets in college basketball for December 2016. Not a lot of games on the board today, so this video is going to be a little bit shorter than the college basketball matchup videos that I typically make. But if you're interested in getting content beyond just what I talk about in this video, or sports that aren't even college basketball, like college football, the NFL, NBA, NHL, you can head on over to stumpthespread.com. If you're on desktop, you can just click this little icon right here. It'll take you right over there. You can register a free account to get our daily free plays, or you can upgrade it to a premium account to get our highest confidence plays. Also, if you want, you can click that thumbs up or subscribe. It really helps out the channel. It's greatly appreciated. If you click that subscribe button, you can get notifications of when I release these videos and kind of get the early take on some of these spreads before they kind of shift around throughout the day. Alright, so not a lot of games, like I said, on the board today. Probably got 5 or so matchups that I'm going to quickly gloss over. And the first one is going to be Monmouth and Quinnipiac. This is a Monmouth squad that really impressed last year. Didn't make the NCAA tournament, but probably deserved it more than some of the last teams that did make it in. This is a team that returns quite a bit of talent from that squad, and they also kind of have a chip on their shoulder given the way that they were kind of overlooked by the committee last season. Although, kind of surprisingly, the Hawks haven't been looking quite as dominant out of the gate as one would expect a team that really should have a fire lit under them. But then again, Monmouth did tremendous things in the non-conference last year, and they really didn't get any kind of reward for it at the end of the year, unfortunately for them. Still, Monmouth is the favorites to win the MAAC, and it would be quite a surprise not to see them get out of their conference and get their automatic bid into the NCAA tournament, even though they do have some competition over there in the top of their particular league. Then we have this Quinnipiac squad. Not expecting this group to do all that much this year. This is a Quinnipiac program that really hasn't had too much success in recent years in the win-loss column. They have had a lot of success as a program for whatever it's worth in the rebounding department, but even that's kind of fallen off so far this year. Quinnipiac's gone against a pretty challenging slate so far this season for what you'd typically expect from a mid-major school, but this is going to be a pretty difficult matchup for them on their home court. Monmouth, if they're able to get going from behind the arc, and Monmouth should even be able to kind of get things going down low as well against this Quinnipiac defense. So expect a lot of points out of the Hawks in this one as they go on to win and cover this spread. Moving on to Columbia against Seton Hall. Columbia has been a bit hit or miss so far this year. This is a team that hasn't looked great on the road per se. They had a pretty bad blowout loss on the road earlier this year against St. Joe's, I believe. This is going to be another tough matchup for the Lions. This is a Seton Hall squad that returns 4 starters to a team that went to the NCAA tournament a year ago. They lose their best player, Isaiah Whitehead, to the NBA. But this is definitely a Pirate squad that expects to make another run back to the NCAA tournament this year. Gotten off to a decent start, but kind of hit some road bumps recently against some tougher competition. But getting back to their home court, they should get kind of a push from their home crowd in this one as they go on to separate and win and cover this fairly large spread. Alright, this is kind of the matchup of the day in college basketball, the Cincinnati versus Iowa game. Really, out of all the games in today's action, this is the one that's really the best watch if you're trying to think about watching any of these particular matchups in college basketball. But this is one of those defense versus offense situations. Cincinnati always brings it on the defensive end, while Iowa State really tries to push the pace of play and kind of get things moving up and down the court. With Iowa State getting the home court advantage on what is one of the better, basically the Cyclones have one of the better home court advantages in the nation with their raucous crowd over there in Ames. We expect Iowa State to probably dictate action more in this one, given they're on their home court. And, this is an Iowa State squad that's faced some decent tests so far this year and been able to show pretty strongly. Iowa State, it did come up just short in their last outing against Gonzaga, but that was another pretty nice result for them, even though they did come up just short in the end of that particular matchup. We like both these teams to make the NCAA tournament this year. We really like the Cincinnati squad and their grit that they show on the defensive side, and then we kind of like this Iowa State group because of the high ceiling that their offense has when clicking on all cylinders. And behind their home court advantage, we do like Iowa State to pull away in this one in the second half as they go on to win and cover this moderate spread here. Alright, just a few more games that I want to touch on. One being Oral Roberts against Oakland. We sided against Oral Roberts in their last outing at home against Tulsa as a premium play, and that one came through rather easily. Tulsa was only slight favorites on the road in that matchup, and they went on to really pretty much control that game from the 10-minute mark in the first half on, going on to beat Oral Roberts by double digits. This is an Oral Roberts team that we don't expect a whole lot of out of this year. They're picked to finish more in the basement of the Summit League. And then we have Oakland, who loses their top scorer, who was one of the leading scorers in college basketball from last season, and Kay Felder, who's moved on. But Oakland has reloaded with some really intriguing pieces, and this Oakland team might even have a higher ceiling than last year's squad, which is pretty remarkable considering the success Oakland was able to have last year behind Kay Felder, who's one of the greatest players in the history of their program. Who actually, this Oakland program's done pretty solid things over the past decade or so, and we do expect Oakland to push Valparaiso at the top of the horizon this year. Oakland has, you know, not the greatest home court advantage by any means, but it is something, you know, that's bumps this up to 14.5 points them on their home court. Oakland loves to get out and run and really put up a lot of points. We see Oral Roberts probably lagging behind in the offensive category in this one, so we like the Golden Grizzlies to win and cover this rather large spread. And the next game I want to talk about is going to be Montana State against Utah. Montana State, you know, they're a basketball program that doesn't get much attention. This is a team that's probably going to finish in the middle tier of the Big Sky, but the Bobcats definitely have the ability to put up a lot of points, and they've been displaying that so far this year. And even in their road games, Montana State's actually been really competitive and very close losses against another Pac-12 team in Washington State, and also the Bobcats were able to push Rice on the road right to the end, and that's a Rice squad that's going to be a lot better than people probably were expecting coming into the year. That Rice team has shown some pretty nice results early on in the year. But anyways, Montana State has been putting up a lot of points, much less impressive on the defensive side of the ball, but if they're able to bring that offensive intensity into this one, they could end up making this a bit more competitive than Utah's comfortable with. So this is a Utah team that's lost some pretty talented players in recent years, especially this past offseason. Utah shedded a lot of veteran experience. This is a Utah squad that we'd probably be surprised if they were able to make a run to the NCAA tournament this year, especially playing in the Pac-12 where they're going to get a lot of competition over there. Utah does have a solid home court advantage, but they are coming off a home loss against Butler where Utah wasn't really able to build off of their home crowd like they're sometimes able to do. It's going to be interesting to see how the Utes bounce back coming off the home loss. They definitely could be overlooking this Bobcat squad. We do think that Montana State getting the points is the better value bet here, but it seems like the betting public is having some of the similar feelings that we are about Utah and has bet this one down from 16 to 14.5 at this point, unfortunately. But even getting the 14.5 points, we do still feel like Montana State brings some pretty solid betting value in this particular matchup. And the last game that I want to touch on for matchups on December 1 is going to be Stephen F. Austin against Arkansas. This is a Stephen F. Austin basketball program that's really made a name for themselves in recent years in the NCAA tournament. And although the Lumberjacks are one of the heavy favorites to come out of their conference this year, this is an SFA squad that's not quite as good as some of the teams we've seen in recent years, and that's definitely shown out of the gate. Stephen F. Austin's open 2-2 overall, and even their 2 wins have been in very competitive games against some of the lesser teams that are on their schedule this year. So not a great start for this Lumberjack squad, which is a bit concerning coming into this matchup on the road against Arkansas. So Arkansas has a really strong home court advantage, and they've been using that effectively so far this year, picking up some nice wins at home against some of the better mid-major teams like IPFW, for instance. Arkansas was able to take care of them, and that's a Macedon squad that's shown pretty well recently, including their win against Indiana. and Arkansas also able to get a home win against UT Arlington is a pretty solid mid-major group. You know, given the struggles that SFA has had out of the gate, that's probably one of the main reasons why this spread has been bumped from 12 to 14 points at this particular stage. But Arkansas will be looking to run up and down the court. That's what they do. They really like pushing the ball on the offensive end, and that makes the points a little less meaningful when you expect a higher scoring affair. So if the Hogs are able to dictate the action here on their home court, we do expect them to kind of outpace this Lumberjack squad that hasn't been looking all that great as they go on to win and cover this 14-point spread. So that's the last game that I wanted to cover. Again, not a ton of action going on this Thursday. You know, we're about, I'd say, we're getting to about the halfway point of the non-conference slate. I'm always a big fan of some of the matchups we get to see in the non-conference in college basketball, but conference play will start up about a month from now, which is also pretty exciting. Again, if you're interested in getting our matchup articles, and not just in college basketball, but across all major U.S. sports, you can head over to stumpthespread.com. And if you're on desktop, you can get there just by clicking this icon right here in the top right-hand corner. And I'll also link Stump the Spread in the description. And again, if you could click the thumbs up or the subscribe, it's greatly appreciated and really helps us out. So thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next college basketball video. Bye.